Hi guys, it's Matty, the inner child holistic healer. Thank you for stopping by. Today's topic is 5 key traits of narcissistic or toxic friends. And stay to the end because I'm also going to give you a resource, some questions that you can ask yourself when you're making a decision to leave toxic or narcissistic friendship. So, and I'm also going to share some of my personal story. So first of all, um, I I am a licensed therapist and a hypnotist, and also I work with people who suffer from childhood abuse and trauma, also known as a complex PTSD. So, and this question um, is often asked in my clinical practice. How do I know I should leave this relationship? And it happened to me too that many times we stay in these toxic friendships because, we are loyal, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, or simply we are maybe afraid that we're not going to meet somebody else. And especially when you're older, that may becomes more of an issue. So just like narcissistic partners, also friends can be narcissistic. And before I share some of their key, key traits, I would also like to share with you my personal story because I think you're going to relate to it as many of my clients did as well. So, growing up in Eastern Europe, in Slovenia, actually, growing up in a dysfunctional home, abusive home, when several of the family members were predators. And so I never felt loved or safe. So my friends became my family. And in my 20s and 30s, I had a lot of friends, the usual going to parties, dancing, but I was always a light of the party. I had a lot of friends, like 20 to 30 friends. And I was always able to talk to them about my family, what was going on. And I think if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't be here because I was really hopeless and discouraged at home, and I really had no resources to leave sometimes even dangerous home, right? And this was not just with my family, later on with my partners, and also realized with my friends. So if you experience what we call relational trauma, this does not refer just to romantic relationships, but any relationship, even work relationships. So for me, so having friends was very important to me always. So when I moved to the US, actually to Florida in 97, I found it extremely challenging because I was used to being really honest with my friends, right? And share with them anything. So this was quite a journey, but I did make some close friends and mostly met them at work. However, what also started to happen to me, and I also been very dedicated to my personal healing journey. And before I became a therapist, I was also in therapy myself. So through therapy, I also realized that I'm a love addict, I'm a codependent. And as such, I would always do everything to please people, including my friends. I would go extra mile. I'll be always helpful. And because I'm a therapist, many times almost kind of giving therapy. And I realized that because of that, I was not as selective and I didn't let go of friendships. And I maybe even did, but then I went back to it. And unfortunately, things really didn't change. And everyone has to make their own decision. But I just want to share with you a couple of key traits of toxic or even narcissistic friends. So, number one is that they are disrespectful. And you may even think, oh, that's no big deal. But if you're constantly disrespected, for example, somebody's constantly late and not doing anything about it. This happened to me. I kept putting up with it for many, many years. In the end, I just could not deal with it anymore because this person didn't make any change in over 15 years, right? The second thing is that they're often emotionally immature. They may throw tantrums like a 2-year-olds when somebody gives them maybe negative feedback. And of course, I was also emotionally mature, so some of these friendships also didn't work because one person did not work on themselves, right? So I kept trying to change people. Of course, it doesn't work. So besides being disrespectful, emotionally mature, and throwing tantrums, they're also very defensive. That's number 3. They would not take responsibility, and they would maybe say, but you did this, right? Not taking any kind of responsibility whatsoever. And if this happens a few times, it's okay. But all we are talking about here is looking at the patterns, right? And so we talked about them not, really getting into personal growth or therapy, which is even more discouraging when somebody's, potentially a therapist, for example, right? So now what I promised you, and this video is actually becoming a little bit longer than anticipated. So there are some quick key questions that you need to ask yourself. So I have to keep doing this. I have to keep letting go of friends. And last year in 2023 was an extremely challenging year. But now I'm starting strong, and I only want to have people in my life who are nurturing and caring. And there is a reciprocity. And the person's actually investing in their personal growth, especially if there's mental health issues. So number 1, you ask yourself, when did I actually meet this person, right? And by the way, there's another therapist. Her name is Kathy Morton. She also has a video about this. I'll post the link in the chat. She actually talks about these questions as well, right? What do we need to do when we're deciding? So when did I dismiss friend? Do we still have anything in common? Is this friend respected? Is always respectful towards me? Does this friend initiate contact? And it's not all on you. Does this person, when you talk, pretty much takes over? Or does this person actually listen to you? Right? So we are looking for the patterns. And if you even tried honest conversations as feedback and trying to make this work, maybe not just once, but several times, then do yourself a favor and release that relationship, because it's not serving you. And you're basically repeating the same dynamic, repeating in a addicted, obsessive, narcissistic relationship. So thank you for stopping by again. And if you like